Welcome to Beating a Dead Horse, the podcast where we take the things that have been talked to death and talk about them some more. Please submit topics to Twitter at HotchJoshMC, hashtag Beating a Dead Horse. The podcast is recorded live at twitch.tv/HotchJoshMC, so if you haven't caught one live, come and check it out every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And now, your hosts, Josh and Jonathan. This is Beating a Dead Horse. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 15.
15?
I think. It's 15 or 16.
Okay.
Of Beating a Dead Horse. That sounds like maybe it's not accurate, but I think it is because
I think
because Twitch was set at 14 when I logged in. I haven't been on Twitch since the last podcast. So that would make this be episode 15, which is weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's weird. 15 weeks so far of Beating a Dead Horse.
That's right.
Still
dead.
The what?
Still dead.
Still dead. The horse is still dead. We're still beating it. Just to first let me do this first. I want to give shout outs to those in the stream. Because we like to do that at the beginning of every episode. Give a shout out that way if it makes it to YouTube, because I'm an awful human and forget to put it on YouTube like a lot. But if it makes it onto YouTube, I want these people to be able to be remembered. It sounds more sentimental than it should be. Well, you didn't die. You just
in memorandum.
In memorandum. No. But let's look real quick. I'm looking at chat. The chat list. In the chat, I see myself. Thank you, me, for being here. Just kidding. Diconius, I think is how you pronounce that. Draco Legacy. Dubba D123, which is my new favorite screen name.
Absolutely.
Proto Matt, and then while he popped out of chat right now, I know he's coming back. JBJ Blaze, has to be our number one fan. I has to be, because he's here every week.
That we did more than us. I don't know.
There are weeks he has been here waiting for us, and we didn't go on. So by that logic, yes, he has been here more than we have.
That's right. More than our internet service.
But thanks, guys, for being here, for being a part of what we're doing. We hope you enjoy this episode. I do want to say on the front end, I might fall asleep. It's like, I'd say 50% probable I could fall asleep. I got a little bit tired of even putting those words out of my mouth. But it's possible I could fall asleep, and here's why. So last night, this kind of launches into our first topic, but last night, or technically this morning, Destiny came out.
Right.
Destiny is the new game by Bungie. So the makers of Halo have sold off Halo, and Destiny is their new baby. Those who frequent my channel will remember about a year ago I visited Seattle for PAX, but also I got to tour Bungie Studios. And back then they showed me Destiny, and they said, Destiny's going to be this thing, this is a shooter, but it's also an MMO, and we have a 10-year plan. And I was like, there's absolutely no way you have a 10-year plan for a shooter, but they do. And I can tell you after playing it that it's going to be a great 10 years with it. But I have a bone to pick. Slightly with Destiny, and here it goes. I want to say I love you, Bungie, and I love Destiny. But last night, and probably because I'm a little sleep deprived, I had a couple of bones to pick, and so here they go. Okay, so I bought the digital standard edition, and I did that for a main reason. Like, I normally am like a physical copy kind of guy. I want the disc. I want to be able to hold it in my hand. I want to be able to sell it back to GameStop later. Right. I want to have that. I want it physically, so I can say, oh, here it is. I own this thing. I've been kind of slow on integrating digital downloads for console games. I'm totally cool with it on the PC front, which means I should be cool with it on the console front. But it has taken me some time.
Right.
And here recently, I got Diablo 3, the whatever it's called, Ultimate Evil Edition, for the PS4. And when I bought that one, they didn't have any copies of the game in GameStop, and so what I ended up doing is buying enough PlayStation Network cards to buy the game online, get it digitally.
Right.
And I love having the game right there. I don't have to put a disc in. I just go to the app on my home screen and I click on it and it opens up and it's glorious. So because of that, I decided to go with the digital edition of Destiny and cancel my physical pre-order. Mm-hmm. Now, I did this because I'm getting the standard version. I didn't want to spring for the limited edition or the Ghost edition because they were both really expensive.
Right.
They were like $80 and $100-something. Like, it was expensive.
Yeah.
So I went with the standard game. And so if I'd been getting the limited editions or whatever, I would have gone physical because they come with a lot of cool stuff. But I didn't. I was going standard. So I knew from that I wouldn't be able to play the game on my console until 3 a.m. Eastern Time because it was midnight Pacific. So I knew that everyone that I knew around here that was getting it physically was going to be able to play at midnight. And so I have a buddy who is getting it, and I said, hey, why don't you go pick it up and come to my house and bring your PS4, and we can play that way. Because my copy won't unlock until 3. So he shows up at my house at 12:30, and we put the disc in, and it has to download because it is. I'm telling you, it's an MMO. It's an RPG. It plays like one. It feels like one. So he comes over and he starts to download it. It's like a 15 gig install. It's not that big. My internet's mostly fast now. It starts to download. It gets like within 1 gig of being done, and we lose connection to the servers.
Right.
And we're unable to connect to the servers for any sort of steady amount of time for the next 2 hours. It wasn't until 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time that we were able to connect to the servers and stay connected. So we both played a little bit. It's now, at this point, it's like 3 a.m., so my copy's unlocked. So he goes home. I boot up my PS4. In a wonderful move, everything I did on his console saved to my console over the cloud, so that's awesome. So I was able to pick up where I left off with him. I played for about another hour and a half, and then went to sleep about 5 o'clock. And my wife, who is in school, woke up at 8. So I woke up at 8. And unfortunately, for everyone involved, I started playing Destiny again at about 9 o'clock. And I played from 9-ish to 10-something, and then I went and met a friend for coffee, which I, at that point, needed to get intravenously almost, because I was so tired. So I went and had coffee, and then I came and visited you, and we watched the Apple keynote, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. And then I came home, and instead of taking a nap, I played some more Destiny. So I said all that to say this. My bone to pick with Destiny is, why the heck didn't your servers work? And I'm really tired and I might die. So I'm drinking an energy drink because I have to, or I would be asleep. But here's kind of my beef. Okay, Bungie had 4.5 million people play their beta. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
How is it that with all of these games, all these online games, these MMOs that come out, no one ever has enough servers?
Yeah. It's about, I feel like it's a problem with not even just gaming. Nobody seems to prep well enough.
And then I wonder if it's not that, and if you really just can't, no amount of testing is going to get you the same scenario.
It's kind of like whenever Apple's going to release iOS 8 in like a week or two.
Oh yeah, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. I've thought about not downloading it because I'm going to be getting a new phone so soon after that I've thought about not even downloading it.
Considered the same thing, yeah.
Because honestly, it comes out the 17th. I think.
Yeah, 17th and the phone's the 19th.
You're not going to be able to download it on the 17th, so it's going to be the 18th before you can actually download the thing.
If you do, it'll take like 18 hours.
Right. So, but on the 18th, it'll download like this.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to add another phone like the next day. So.
Really.
So I don't even think I'm going to do it. So that was my thing with Destiny, and it was just frustrating, and it made me angry because I wanted to play it. so bad.
Yeah.
And I did eventually get to, but I was very frustrated. I felt like I trusted, I think, Bungie to not have that problem. And maybe that was stupid of me. But it was frustrating to have a game that, like, if it was physically in my home, like, the disc is here.
Yeah.
Or at least it was, not now. But it is an MMO, and so you do need to get on the servers. And it was scary for a minute because it was like, oh crap, this means in the future if I can't access the servers, I can't play.
Right.
Now, granted, I know that was just everything booting up and getting ready to go, and they were, putting different parts of the country were turning on like all at once, like the East Coast all hit all at once, and Central hit all at once, and so I get that, but it was scary for a minute because I was like, oh, this is horribly unstable. But even by like 2:30 here, it was stable.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any interruptions from 2:30 on. So it seemingly kind of got its legs up under it and was working. That being said, Destiny is so fun. That's why I came home today and instead of sleeping, played it. Because it's fun. I'm way behind all of my friends that are playing because even though as tired as I am, as late as I stayed up, I did not stay up as late as them.
Yeah.
And I'm tired, guys. So yeah, you didn't play Destiny. You're not playing Destiny, but like,
I don't have a way to play Destiny. So.
Well, no, because your Xbox 360 is like on the fritz, right?
Yeah, it acts up.
I was gonna say we got a 360 version, but
yeah, I guess I could download it if I really wanted to. But.
Yeah. So JBJ is asking what I do for a job. I work at a church here. Do a lot of different things, graphics and such. Okay, cool. So that's Destiny. Fun game. Play it. If you got a PS4, play it. Add me. You can find me on PSN, HotchJoshMC. So good. So good. That has some really cool stuff. If you have a PlayStation Vita, which I know that I'm talking to like 4 people. But if you have a Vita, there's really cool... Because I don't know if you know this, but you can remote play with the Vita.
Yeah.
So I can be like in my room and like play on the Vita, and they basically made full on like touch controls. So like, it's good. It like you melee with the controller as you press in the R3 stick, like the R stick, and with the Vita you like tap the right of the screen.
Right. That's
melee, and that's awesome. They didn't use the back touchpad, thank God, because it's the worst thing ever invented.
Right.
Stupid. The thing is too long, and yeah, it's stupid. But the system is too long. It's like I can't reach.
Right.
It's not made for my hands.
Right. No.
But it's good. I'm excited. I actually want to play I want to play it on my Vita, but I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. Let us see. So. JBJ, do you have an audio question this week? If so, it might be good to send that along because we're going to get talking about the iPhone in a second here.
Yeah.
And we're not probably going to stop that. So Diego Griff just came in. Good buddy of mine just came in the stream. Welcome, Diego Griff. Anybody else in the stream, if you have questions, this is the time for it. If not, we might get to it at the end of the show. Everybody here knows that we are Apple fans. Is that I don't want to... Yeah, fans.
Sure.
I mean, I definitely would say we probably border on Apple fanboys.
Probably.
So today was a big announcement. We've been talking about it for weeks. I mean, literally.
Yeah. Weeks.
If we might have been talking about it for the entirety of the show, if I'm being completely honest.
Probably.
Which is sort of sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. But we're about to. We're about to talk about it a lot.
But, yeah.
So today was the big announcement. And I think Apple did everything I wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for a while about whether or not we're getting 2 phones, whether or not we're getting... 1 phone soon and 1 phone later. We've been talking sizes. We've been talking specs. Pretty much everything you have read about the 4.7-inch phone is true.
Essentially.
Pretty much everything, especially if you've been reading in the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Now, I did notice one of the rumors was that it was going to be water resistant. They didn't say that in the keynote, I don't think.
Said about that, no.
The iWatch is, or the Apple Watch is water resistant, I think. But anyway, so the phone is coming out. It'll go on pre-order this Friday, which is sooner than I thought it would do.
Yeah.
But it goes on pre-order this Friday and then starts shipping next Friday.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that starts shipping, so does that mean...
I'm pretty sure that means you'll be able to buy it.
Pick it up in store on that day?
Yeah.
I think the shipping would be just if someone was just pre-ordering and it's coming to their house or something.
Yeah, I think the pre-orders ship on the 19th.
Okay. So, you'll be able to go places day one, pick it up, your Verizon store, your cell phone carrier store. But beyond that, your Apple stores, your Best Buy store, all that stuff is going to have it.
Yeah.
So if you live in somewhere that's really populated, you're probably going to want to go wait in a line.
Yeah, probably.
If you are like us and you live in the middle of nowhere, you might be okay. I'm still going to go by and try to pre-order mine, though. If I can do it on site, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. So we are getting a 4.7. We are getting a 5.5. Both of those are coming out. Same time.
Yeah.
Which... I'm so torn, man. We've been talking about this all day.
I know. Well, I think me and you were both expecting the 5.5 to maybe come later in the year.
Yeah, I thought Apple was going to make the decision for me.
Right.
Because if they had announced the phone coming out later in the year, I'm getting whatever comes out this week.
It would just be,
I'm getting the one that comes out now.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was, they added just a couple. It's not like they added a ton of stuff that I was like, necessarily have to get the 5.5, but they added just enough where I'm like now considering it. But I really need to look at it.
But you're not going to be able to.
Well, I'll wait a day or two. I'll get with you on the 19th when you buy yours, and then I'll look at it and then make a decision.
But now I got to make a decision without seeing it, though.
Well, that's true. But yeah, so the resolution is basically full on HD resolution for the 5.5.
It is 1920 by 1080.
Which is nuts. 400 some odd pixels per inch or something craziness. And then it has optical image stabilization, but I think that is what interests me more probably than even the resolution. But I don't know how much of a difference it would make or not. That's one. I don't know. That and the bigger battery life were kind of the two things.
Yeah, the battery life though. The best place that it's bigger is with audio, which is something I do the least with my phone.
Yeah.
My audio use for me with my iPhone is strictly limited to the gym. Yeah. Because at home, everything here has Pandora on it. So I don't really use my phone for that unless I'm in a room that there's not. If I'm in the kitchen, a lot of times I'll use my phone. But then lately I've gotten to just turning the TV on and blaring it.
Yeah.
So I really use it for music. I use it a lot for videos and browsing and stuff. And while you do get bigger numbers on the 5.5 with that, it's not as big as the number difference you get with audio.
No. Well, it's not double like it is with audio.
Yeah, audio is double.
Audio is ridiculous. It's 80 hours. Or
something.
But so that, but an extra 4 hours of talk time is not insignificant either.
It's not, but I don't really talk on my phone that much.
Well, I don't either, but I'm more interested in surfing time. That's really kind of what I'm more interested in.
But I feel like it was one of the lower discrepancies.
Yeah, it was what 2 hours.
2 hours more. And honestly, by and large, I don't leave my house that much. So.
The only time it really becomes, during day to day, it's not really that big of a deal, but it's just traveling and stuff.
Traveling for sure.
It gets a little tedious, but
traveling for sure. I tell you what,
if I didn't have to use another battery case, that would be okay with me. So
yeah, but you know what? Even the ones I think with the 4.7, it's gonna be because both of our phones' batteries are done.
Yeah, they're
And mine is literally plugged in right now. And I think anything from ours is gonna be I don't have to charge this at all.
Yeah. I know as soon as I get mine, it's gonna be the best thing in the world.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for me, man, I wasn't prepared. I totally thought because the 5.5, there's a part of my brain, I don't know if it's a male thing or if it's just a tech person thing, but there's a part of my brain that just automatically thinks bigger is better.
Yeah.
And so when they first announced 4.7 and 5.5, I was like, 5.5, no question. I'm getting 5.5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. 5.5, man. And the more that I've sat there with that, I've been like, I don't know. First of all, I'm very intimidated by its size, which I understand sounds weird, but
Well,
I am a little afraid. I'm afraid that it won't fit in my pocket.
Right.
I don't know. I'm very intimidated by
Well,
all
yeah.
5.5 inches of it.
Well, I think anyway, I'm gonna have to look at it to see.
See, I'm telling you, but I'm saying again, like I don't get. I'm so like this is 100% a first world problem.
I know.
Like
well, you know what's gonna happen in like a couple of days. They're gonna release like exact sizes. So then you'll be able to like do the nerdy thing of printing it out and looking at it.
right. See, that's the thing. We were watching a video like before we came on, and I'm like watching it. And I'm like, this dude's holding it. And I'm like, in this dude's hands, 5.5 doesn't look that scary.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, I don't know how big your hands are, dude. Like, I need something to scale. Can we put like an apple or a Red Bull can or like an apple wouldn't work because those could be all sorts of sizes. But like,
right, a standardized.
I need a standardized something to like compare. Put it by a Coke bottle. I don't care, but just something that I can, because I don't know how big your hands are. My hands are not that big.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, and that's because sometimes I'm like today I was in the bed today and I was reading off of my phone and I had it in one hand, and like even this phone, like for me to reach some things on this phone, it took like some stretching, and that's what I'm thinking because like this is 4, right?
Yeah.
And so 4.7 is almost an inch bigger than this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if I'm already having troubles.
Well, the one thing is it's thinner, pretty dramatically thinner.
It is
so
thinner.
At least you'll have like less area to reach over.
It is thinner, but man, I don't know.
I don't think I don't think that 4.7 will be much different.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think the 5.5 will be.
Because I thought that too, but then I read like an article by this dude talking about when he went from like a 4-inch Android phone to like a 5-point-something Android phone. Or even he took the middle step. He's like even doing that. He was talking about how different it was and how you kind of have to relearn how to you work it differently and so all of that stuff, like everything. Like, I keep reading stuff and I'm like, it's honestly like scaring me more and more about the 5.5. But then every bit of me is like, watching a YouTube video on that 5.5 is going to be the junk, and playing a game on that 5.5 is going to be the junk, and shooting a video so every bit of me is like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the tough part. I feel like because like iMovie and some other type things like that would be great on the 5.5.
Yeah.
The landscape mode I kind of really dig on the 5.5.
And I didn't even think about this, but in the 5S they put all that stuff out for free, right?
Yeah.
So like we'll get all that stuff like standard now because I don't have that. You don't have that.
Well, I have.
Well, you have it, but like
not. I bought it.
Right, but I didn't, and so like, but all that stuff I'm gonna get for free.
Right.
So yeah, I don't now. Oh man.
See, the landscape mode is the other thing that I keep going back to a little bit.
I don't know, man. Because then I look at stuff like the email pane, like if you turn it sideways, you get the 2 thing, and I don't know if I like that.
Well, essentially, it's like an iPad.
Yeah, which is what I don't know if I like.
Well, I understand.
So here's what it's going to... I mean, all my big talk, here's what it's going to come down to. Because I already started having this conversation. Like, my wife was asking me today, which one do I want? And I told her I wanted the 64 gig 4.7, and she's like, oh, you want the one that's like $300? So, like, it's already going to come down to, like, what she says I can spend.
Right.
And here's the thing, I know that I'm going to like whichever one I get, I know that I'm going to like.
Yeah.
I just don't know which one I would like more. And I didn't want to make this decision. I really, honestly, is so bad. But I wanted Apple to be like, we're releasing 5.5 at Christmas, and I was gonna be like, all right, deuces 5.5.
Yeah.
I'm going with 4 points. What can I get this week? What can I get? And they didn't do that. They didn't give me that option, and I'm mad at them. I'm mad at them. And so we talked about this a little last week, but I think it bears repeating. I was talking to some people today about the new phone. They're like, "Oh, Apple, like they need to make more than one phone," and I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't know what. I mean, aside from screen size, I don't know what else they would.
Well, that's what I was confused because
especially now because they're still going to sell the 5C, they're still going to sell the 5S.
Yep.
I mean, obviously you have differences, and
I
think that's the reason. It's the reason I think it would be redundant for Apple to come up with something that would be cheaper or lower cost or whatever because they already have that.
Yep.
It's called last year's phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in like you know what I mean? Like. The thing is like, I mean, like, to be honest, I mean, aside from my battery issue, like, my phone still works fine.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't even know how many generations behind now.
What's
about to be
You have a 4, right?
4S.
I have 4S, so 4S and then 5, 5S, so yeah, about to be 3.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, that's not bad. Like, I've had it for almost 3 years, so, with the exception of battery life, it still runs the new operating system. It's still, I mean, like, it still is pretty decent.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what I mean? So, but, like, I don't know. I played with some other people that have just recently got 5S's.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm like, just should have waited. But.
Oh, something interesting I was reading. One of the reviewers I was reading that has, like, touched it and held one, said that it doesn't feel as, like, uncomfortably light as the 5S does. That it feels a lot more sturdy. Even though it's thinner.
Yeah, I mean, the 5S feels really light.
Yeah,
I
feel like I'm,
break it light. So I'm totally cool if it is not quite as, fall out of my hand ability.
Right. So.
Especially used to this. I mean, this is fairly chunky.
Yeah, no, when I pick up your phone, I feel like I need to use 2 hands.
Yeah, like.
I gotta go to the gym to pick up your phone. After using mine, like.
I know. That is one thing I'm curious about the iWatch is weight.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see if there's anything. So here, I think what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do, because I know somebody who has arguably the biggest phone I've ever held in my life, and I'm going to message them and see how big their phone is, because that'll give me some indication.
That's true.
If you remember DLB, his phone, it's ginormous.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I could beat up somebody with it.
Yeah, you probably could.
I want to know how big that phone is, because that'll give me some indication. Because if that's how big it is, I think I could rock a 5.5.
Yeah.
Because I know how big that phone is, but I like it.
Yeah. And you know his phone is going to, like, the iPhone would be smaller in, like, thinness and stuff.
Than his phone is,
anyway, so.
For sure. So there's my litmus test on top of whatever my wife says I can buy.
Well, I don't have that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think... okay, so JBJ wants to talk about the iWatch. And first of all, he says... Okay, well, first of all, it's not the iWatch.
That's true.
It is the Apple Watch.
That's right.
That goes along with some other naming that they've done in Apple Pay, which is a service on the phone that basically is going to let you use your credit card in a very, very awesome, secure way, so that you won't ever have to take out your credit card to pay at places, and that place won't ever actually get your credit card info. So there's not going to be this kind of they can get it, they can look at it, they can't ever get that.
Yeah.
Very cool, like one-touch kind of paying stuff, which is, you can look it up online. I think it's really cool. If we have time, we might talk about it. But so the Apple Watch, as it's being called, is, in my opinion, one of the sexiest pieces of technology I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very, very, very good-looking watch.
It is
very good-looking, whatever. Actually,
it's rounded, so it fits with the kind of style of the new iPods. The iPads are even more rounded.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're getting that rounded feel, which I think is good. They need to stick with it. It looks good. It's got a sapphire screen on it that allows for customizable watch faces. that can be set to your. It's the most customizable thing Apple's ever put out.
It's almost a little staggering, actually, how many options you have for it. I mean,
for sure.
They're releasing, 3 different models?
3 different models and, 8 different bands.
Yeah. And then within each model, even, there's several different finishes. It's kind of a plethora of choices for Apple.
I think it looks really good. But what it looks like is so much less important than what it does. And I was having sort of a quasi-argument with someone today because they're like, oh, well, because one of the big things is fitness. They've added a lot of fitness elements because iOS 8 has a big fitness element to it.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, I could just get a Fitbit, which is false. You couldn't, not to do the same things.
Yeah.
So one of the big things for me that I think was really cool is I'm trying to get in shape. I know a lot of people that are trying to get in shape. Hitting up the gym, trying to eat a little bit better, trying to keep myself more motion, in motion. Like I sit a lot because I'm working here, and that's no good. And so what this watch is doing is it's tracking all your health stuff. Which is what I thought it would. There's sensors in the bottom that check your pulse, so it knows your heart rate at all times. It can tell when you're being sedentary, and it'll stop it. It'll still it vibrates, but I don't even want to call it vibrate because it's like a haptic feedback that's really subtle, and you're not going to hear, you're just going to feel. And it'll kind of say, hey, you should get up and walk around, stand up. It'll tell you, you've gotten in a brisk sort of exercise environment, this many minutes of the day, and has a little thing that goes around that you can track, and there's one for exercise that'll go when you've, burned X amount of calories. That's all exciting. The workout thing, too, they have a setting where you tell it what workout you're going to do. Like, I'm going to run. I want to run for 40 minutes, or I want to burn this many calories, and it tracks all of that. And it can do that because it's tracking your pulse along with all your vitals that you tell it and all that. And it's so... That alone, it almost makes you need it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to be their plus, because the thing's expensive. Starting at $329. $349.
Yeah.
So starting at $350 basically. Starting at $350, that's expensive. But those features, because you could buy you a fitness tracker, that's going to be, to get something even close on the fitness side, you're going to spend at least $130.
Well, yeah, I think it's
more if you want a heart rate monitor.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it is expensive, but honestly, I don't think it's cheaper than I was expecting it to be.
I was expecting $400.
Only because, if you want a Pebble metal watch, it's $300.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The Pebble doesn't do anything. It just does notifications, and so for an extra $50, you couldn't spend that and get an additional health.
Yeah,
so
that's a valid point.
I don't think it. I think it's fairly competitively priced. It's obviously more than what the Moto watch is going to be, or LG. Those are all coming in.
Doesn't matter. So's the iPad, but they're better things.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't think it's so overly more expensive than some of the Android offerings.
That's true. That's true. And two,
the materials make it look even more expensive. Which I they have a full 18 karat gold version. I don't even want to know how much that is going to cost.
But you know what though? I'm looking at it. I don't even like gold. I don't like the way it looks.
I don't either. But there will definitely be a blingish market for all of that.
I agree. I think the pricing is about where I thought it would be. I was thinking more close to $400. I got really excited when they announced 3 of them because I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a 3-tiered price plan, and we probably are. But
the other thing I was thinking about just now was there's gonna be 2 different sizes.
Yeah, they didn't mention those.
And I wonder if the 349 is gonna be.
I don't want to talk about that because that makes me mad. I thought about that too when we were watching the video. I was like, oh, I bet that's the. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
The point is, the thing doesn't come out till next year, early next year. So basically, start saving. Sell your firstborn, whatever you have to do.
I hear kidneys are going for a pretty good
Kidneys fetch a good price.
Yes.
You can donate other bodily fluids, whatever you got to do.
It's true.
Sell your possessions. Mortgage your home.
That's only if you want the 18 karat gold.
That's if you want the 18 karat. But no, I mean, I think here's what I know, and I know it from the iPad. So I'm not making this up. We all know it from the iPad. Is that when the iPad first came out, there was a lot of us. I was one of them that was like, that's kind of cool. I kind of want that. There was a whole handful of people that said like I need this in my life right now, and that's why it sold like hotcakes. Mm-hmm. But then there was also this other group that was like, that's kind of cool, but I'll never afford one. But then we all saw them and we all played with one, and we're like, I don't care what I have to do. I'm gonna put that. That's gonna be mine. I'm gonna have one of those, and that's why so many people have an iPad. That's why they're selling them still sell them I don't know how they find people that don't have them anymore.
Well, the thing. I think the other key to this being successful for them is they're still going to have the ecosystem that they have with the phone and with the iPad, because they announced today, like with the watch, basically a watch SDK for third-party apps. Yep. And I mean, even some of the stuff they demoed today was pretty impressive. I mean, as far as like hotel room, like your key being like on your watch and your car being on your watch. I mean, like there's just
stupid.
I think there's just a whole flux of third party stuff that we're not even going to know about until
I agree.
February or March or whenever it comes out.
I agree. I think they need to open it up as wide as they can, because that's where I think it's really going to shine. It's really going to shine in customization options. So I really hope they let people design other faces.
I'm
sure that they will. Yeah. But it comes with a lot of them stock built in. They're all really cool. They all do different things, so you can even change the face, to kind of reflect what you need it to be that day. I think it's going to be big, and it's expensive. But you know what? What's going to happen? And this is what Apple's good at. They're good at making a device that we didn't know we needed, and convincing us or proving to us that it could completely change parts of our lives, because that's ultimately what the iPad did. Do I use my iPad every day? No, but when I do, it makes my life simpler. It makes my life easier, and this thing is going to be like that to the nth degree, because it's something that you will use every day.
Yeah.
And there's really no limit to what it could do, because I mean, like you said, you're going to have third party. I mean, they're opening up a lot more with third-party too. Like they're letting third-party things take over the notification screen, and that's wonderful. But all of that same process and mentality goes into the watch. Allows you to really customize the sorts of notifications you're getting. I think it's going to make people more efficient. I think it's going to change the way we communicate with each other, because you're going to be more connected. But it seemingly, from what I can tell, is a different type of connected.
Yeah.
It almost takes parts of the staleness of communicating via technology and takes that away. There was one thing that I think it's probably the last thing I want to talk about with this, but there was this one thing they introduced that we were watching it. I kind of was like, nope, that's the devil, because
the digital touch.
Yeah, it's called digital touch, and basically, first of all, I don't know who they got over there at Apple doing visuals, but it's one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
Because so the screen is a touch screen, obviously. I could tap on it, and I could tap in 3 different places, and those kind of register as 3 different taps. But I can send those, like if you had one and I had one, I could click the button on the side, pops with a list of my friends. I click you. I can send you a message. I can call you all from the watch. It'll sync up to the phone,
right?
Which is crazy. You don't ever have to take the phone out of my pocket if I don't want to. Which actually might be a good argument for the 5.5 inch once the watch comes out, because I could just keep it in my pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't think about that, but it'll go to you. I can send you a digital touch, and what I can do is I can do tap like tap 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 like in 3 different places, and like almost instantly it goes to yours, and you get the tap, tap, tap in the 3 different places. You see these rings come up where I tap, because it kind of rings around your finger. And then they just kind of wisp away in this kind of neon glow.
Digital smoke.
Yeah, it just kind of like, you see it kind of come up, and then it just and goes.
Apparently you can change colors.
Yeah, you can change colors of that. Yeah. You can draw things. One of the things that I thought was cool was the way they're using it. Even the people at Apple, they've all but amongst themselves have kind of created between friends, these sort of secret codes.
Yeah.
And so he had the guy that was demoing it said he and another guy at Apple, they have this kind of built this code they use where they do these taps in a certain order, and that basically means like, hey, are you hungry? You want to go eat lunch?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll start using the drawing tool on it to like draw what they might want to eat. Or, I mean, it's cool, and it probably is. It technically is unnecessary, but I think what it's going to do is it takes this technological element that we have and makes it into something very tactile.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing of its kind, really. And so what I'm interested to see is, like, where do we take it next? Because what it does is, I mean, the word digital touch really is what it is, because I don't have, it's the same, they talked about it. It's like if you were to walk up to somebody and tap them on the wrist, very slightly. Here's another thing I like is I'm a person who doesn't like to have my phone on ring.
Yeah, I don't either.
And what it seems to me to be is this thing that allows you to get notifications, but in a way that isn't obtrusive into your life.
Right.
It's almost like your watch gives you this gentle, like, hey, there's something over here you should check out.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the screen doesn't turn on like when you get a notification. You get the little taptic feedback thing, and then when you lift up your wrist, that's when the screen comes on. So more than anything, now as I'm talking, I'm thinking of kind of the repercussions of that, but it almost takes away some of the things that I don't like about a cell phone, which is the kind of pulling us away, buzzing and beeping and pulling us away from things, and it kind of takes all of that and puts it into a subtle, like, hey, there's something over here, which then you can check, kind of at your leisure. But even with the phone, or with the watch, you can check it so quick. I mean, it could be, oh, look, there it is, like, boom, I'm done. And so I'm interested to see kind of when I think on a societal level, what this is going to do to the cell phone. Because, this is Apple. Apple is never the first to do anything, but they're the best ones to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's even in Apple's mantra to a certain extent.
Right.
I mean, like, they're very much about the fact that they may redefine a product category or do something, but I mean, it's not like the iPod was the first MP3 player,
Nope,
but it was
the best one.
the best one.
Just the best one.
And, and I feel like that's clearly the case with the iWatch.
For sure.
And, and I'm sure iWatch 2 is already...
They're already working on it.
Practically done.
Yep.
But,
working on it would be cheaper.
Yeah.
You know how it works. We all know the score.
I know how it works.
Like, we all know the words.
No.
So, I mean, those two things, we've been talking about both of those for a while, the ideas of both of those.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked. Come next week, I'll probably already have mine pre-ordered. And 2 weeks out from that, we'll actually be able to show it to you.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited.
Should be cool.
We're going to stop gushing about
That's
Apple
right.
because we've pretty much been doing it all day.
Yeah.
And we do have a question from JBJ Blaze. I do want to say hello to the MC Pokemon who came in just a minute ago. If you're still here, hello, hello, hello. And let's listen to JBJ's clip.
Hello there, Dead Horse Beaters. This is JBJ Blaze, as way too often. And my question is, what do you think of exclusive games like console exclusives or PC, etc.? Anyway, thanks for the great show, and bye-bye!
Okay, so the question was, what do we think about exclusives? Exclusive games. So the thing, this is a reference that actually happened recently. So there was a Tomb Raider game that came out a while back ago on Xbox and PC and PS4 and PS3 and like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of the new Tomb Raider. It was a prequel to all the old Tomb Raider games. It was kind of Lara Croft in her younger years, the formative years, basically.
Right.
I think, what's the name of the company is like Crystal Dynamic or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Square Enix also had a part to do with it. I mean, it was big, and it's good. It's good. To me, better than the Uncharted series. I'm going to get hate for that, but I think it was. At least the Uncharted that I played. The sequel to that is coming out. and we heard about it at one of the recent game things. I don't remember what it wasn't PAX. I think it was like I don't know if it was a Gamescom or what. It was something recently.
Nice.
And basically, the ad for it, the first thing we heard about it said it was an exclusive for Xbox One, which is sort of true and sort of not. It's going to be exclusive for a time, and then it'll go to all the consoles. So here's what I think about exclusives. I think they're stupid. I mean, honestly, do I understand why they're going to do them? Yeah. But I think, we all even myself got like really upset. I was like, how are they going to do this? Like, PS4 is such a big deal. Why would they limit what they can and can't do? Why would they put it on Xbox and not on PS4? And the thing is that's not what they're doing. They're just doing it for a time.
Right.
And I wager that Microsoft paid a nice pretty penny to have the ability to do that first and to do it, this time of exclusivity. Not to, sugarcoat it, PS4 is doing the same thing. I mean, half of their E3 stuff was you can either get it exclusively on PlayStation or will you get it here first or, so
yeah.
it is part of the world we live in.
Yeah, it's a way to drum up sales. It's a way to drum up support.
I think,
and it's not even. I feel like it's not even just gaming that does it too.
No,
it's,
no, because we're getting it with movies. I mean, even now, like there's movies that are coming out. Like Spider-Man 2 came out digitally before it ever came out physically. There's a process at work here that's trying. Here's the real thing. There is a force at work here trying to change the way we take in things.
Yeah.
It started. Sort of with the digital versus physical. The argument on the game side of things, do you go digital, do you go physical? There's this element of like the game companies not really wanting things like GameStop to exist, and so they give you incentives to go digital and da-da-da-da-da. There's that, but then you have it with movies now, you have it with books, and there's this incentive to go digital, because here's the thing. If you have something that's digital, it technically doesn't exist.
Well, that, and it kind of eliminates the need for a middleman.
Well, there's that too. But I mean, the profit margin on something digital to something physical is ginormous.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because like I'm paying the same thing for a digital copy of a game, which I have a problem with. I think it should be cheaper. I think it should be cheaper than the physical.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing with books. I mean, whenever ebooks first came out, like they were the same price as regular books, which was nuts.
Right, but see, when they bring it down, then ebooks rise and are the main thing. And I think that's what's going to happen with gaming too.
It'll have to.
But for right now, we don't have that, and so there's this kind of transition that we're going. Whoever the powers that be are deciding that we're changing the way you do things, and exclusives are part of that.
Yeah.
When a company that doesn't technically have a whole lot of interest in the creation of a game, but who is going to come in and say, hey, we'll give you a blank amount of money to come out on us first, or to come out on us with things you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. I'm not wild about it, but it is, in fact, the world we live in. Now, what I don't like is things that are exclusives 100%. Like, if it's just going to be on one system, I'm not wild about that.
Yeah.
The difference would be, I don't really care if some games come to PC or not. I really don't. Like, people are like, Destiny's a big one. Everyone's like, well, when's Destiny coming to PC? Who gives a flying crap? I don't care. Because it's not made for PC. Yeah. That's not sort of where Bungie's, like, world is. Yeah. So, people that are like, oh, I don't want to come to PC. No. Like, it will eventually because they want to make money. Yeah. But it's not going to come first. That's not their wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And I just think, like, I get it that there are people that are just like, I'm only ever going to game on PC. And that's fine. Just understand there are big games you can't play.
Yeah.
I'm a Sony guy. I'm never going to have an Xbox because I don't want to if I had an Xbox, I'd have to have Xbox Live, and I don't want to pay for that. But I understand there are going to be games I am not going to be able to play. And that's just life.
Yeah.
And that's a decision I made by buying a PS4 over an Xbox, because there are going to be games that I'm not going to play. And that's fine to me. It's the same thing when you choose to have a PC and no console. There are going to be games you can't play. That's the nature of the beast. I look at it just the same as a console. In my opinion, there are 3 consoles that we have, 4 that we have to deal with right now. You have the Wii U, which is struggling, but I think this is going to be a good year, or 2015 is going to be a good year for it. You got the PS4, you got the Xbox One, and you got a PC. Those are 4 different consoles, and they're going to have some crossover of games, and there are going to be some things that are never going to come to the other one from the other one. And that is the nature of the decision you make when you say, I want a PC and no console.
Yeah.
You make the choice to say, there are some games that I'm not going to be able to play. The attitude that I get mad about is PC gamers that are like, why doesn't every game come to PC? Why doesn't every game come to PS4? Why doesn't every game come to Xbox? Like, I don't make those arguments because us console gamers know that it's a stupid argument.
Yeah.
Like we've been dealing with exclusives for forever. I mean, you have your Final Fantasy that for the longest time was a Sony exclusive. You're only going to be able to play Final Fantasy on Sony. You had Halo forever that was an Xbox exclusive. Now, eventually they brought it to PC, but that's because developing for the Xbox at the time was the same as developing for PC.
Yeah.
And
well,
so I don't know. I think PC gamers are, I think, a little too highly of themselves.
Well, it's kind of like being a Mac guy. I mean, like, it's nothing. You just get used to the fact that nothing ever comes to Mac.
Like, you would love to play The Sims right now, but you can't.
Yeah, but I can't.
That's your fault.
It is.
It is.
And that's okay.
You can come here and play it.
I choose not to have a PC in my life.
Right. And I get it, but I think it's a decision that you make. And so what I really want PC owners to get is that, look, you got your, PC Master Race, they're more customizable, I don't care. Like, you made the choice to be a PC gamer. Don't get mad when things don't come to PC. If you are mad, get you a console. Or do like I do when things come to Xbox. Like, I would love to play Sunset Overdrive, but I'm not going to be able to. And I was mad for this long because then I thought of all the reasons I don't want an Xbox One.
Right.
And you know what? I don't care anymore. I got my Destiny. I got my Infamous. I got my, I got my Kingdom Hearts eventually. I'm good. That's why I bought a PS4.
Yeah.
So, it's not an argument to me. I don't know. I think it's weird to me. Like, I like to game on my PC too, but I think there are some people that are just like, every game should come to PC, and that's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because console gamers don't have... Well, we might have had that argument, a couple of years ago, but we haven't had it in a long time because we get it. It's just part of the world that we live in. PC gamers need to get used to it. And you think they would. In theory, they've been around longer than the console gamers. But there's this element of like, we deserve every game. No, you don't. Shut up. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm grumpy. Anyway, guys, let's see. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it for today. So, we will be here next week unless something crazy happens. Right around this same time, 7 o'clock. Well, not this same time because then we'd be over. But,
that's right. Whenever earlier.
We'll be here next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming out. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and all that jazz. And come visit us next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Tuesday, not just any time at 7 p.m. That'd be weird. We won't be here. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and hanging with us and listening to us rant and all that good stuff. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.